Are you kidding? There we go. Is there any audio now? I suppose it'll be a few seconds before it changes anything. I don't know. Anyway, hi Igor, nice to see you. I didn't realize anyone was here. This is cool. But hopefully there's some audio. Yes, excellent. Cool. There's quite a long delay between me saying something and it actually getting uploaded, even though I clicked on the ultra low latency setting. I think it's still like 4 or 5 seconds. But cool. So I just did that whole introductory spiel to myself. What I was saying is I've been interested in doing live coding for some time. I quite like the experience, and I've done it in a sort of closed setting before inside a company. I've never done it in public before, but I'm quite excited about the idea of doing it. And I like the idea of just kind of sharing how you think and how you work with people and doing maybe an aspect of kind of mob programming, although I don't think that'll work very well on YouTube. And the other thing is I've been trying to learn Haskell for several years. And I get in this cycle of starting a tutorial, learning a little bit of Haskell, sort of learning it up to maybe learn functors and applicative and some monads. But I then don't use it and I forget everything, and then I'll pick it up a few months later and I'll start basically again from scratch and learn the basics again, and then not use it and then forget everything. So I figured it'd be quite interesting to try and learn how to use Haskell properly by building some real stuff in it. Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult because I'm not very good at Haskell, so it's going to be a lot of me learning stuff as I go. But hopefully it'll be interesting. I think the thing I really want to get out of this is not really learning the basics of Haskell, but learning how to think in Haskell properly, how to think in a functional language, but in particular in Haskell, and also learn some of Prelude and the common libraries that Haskell developers use. So as I said, I want to build a real thing, and I have a particular project in mind. I want to build a simple program. I've written this a few times for different languages, but I have a fancy keyboard, Ergodox, and it's programmable. And I never quite know where to put the symbols on the keyboard because you have a lot of control over where they go. And it really depends on the language you're using and how common those symbols are. So what I thought was a program where I can point it at a bunch of files, a bunch of coding files, and it can scan those files for me and see how frequently particular symbols appear. And not just individual symbols, but maybe like combinations of symbols as well. So you switch to terminal for a second. So, you know, if you're writing Go, for example, you will quite often see the combination of colon equals. So on a keyboard when writing Go, identifying that those are common symbols and common little chains, putting together makes sense. For Haskell, you might want to worry about things like that, or maybe something like that. So plan is to write a program that just takes some files, counts up the symbols, tells me how frequent they are, including little chains of 2 or 3 symbols side by side. And I'm going to do this all from scratch. So if I go to the Haskell directory in here, I'm going to start a new project. This probably won't work. I'm going to try it though. So I'm just going to use stack to create a new project. I'm going to call it character frequency. I don't want to call it character frequency. I just want to call it sim frequency. Oops. And I'm going to use this template, which is JSON simple. It's really just a clone of Haskell sort of stacks standard templates, simple template. I just added one file for better integration with the Haskell language server. So I'm going to try this. I don't think it'll work. Yeah. So I've got this really annoying thing. All computers are terrible, but I've set this up so that Stack is using Nix as its underlying package manager. The version of the LTS that Stack is picking up is slightly old, and it wants GHC 8.10.3, and Nix has only got, I think it's 8.10.4 available. Is running very slowly. Sorry, my little PC is struggling, I guess, to do the streaming and the encoding and uploading, and also to search Nix. There we go. So the only GHC I have available is 8.10.4. Stack by default is trying to use 8.10.3, and that's why I'm getting the error. As a weird fix for that, I think you can say I've forgotten what the fix was now. You say stack new. It's not release as LTS. It's something similar to that. If I just delete this. It's somewhere in my history. I've done this before. Resolver LTS. That's what it is. If you say that, for some reason, it goes and picks a little resolver and downloads it, and it uses the correct version of GHC. So I should now have a directory called character frequency with an empty project in there. I might just git init it. Okay, and then in theory I can switch to VS Code, trying to find the window. And go open folder, Haskell, character frequency, okay. And it's open up okay. Just have a look at the files in there. So these are the files it creates by default. A lot of this is just, well, there's Cabal file, there's file control stack. This is the special file I added, which just helps the language server out. And then there should be, I cannot open that. There's a main file in there, which doesn't do very much. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make sure everything is working. And as far as anything ever works, I'll just try running this. I'm going to create a new task. just to run the code for me. Oops, not run the code. And shell command, and we're just going to use stack to run it. We can use, I think we can just say stack run. And I want to actually tell a bit more, so we'll do presentation. Will always is fine, focus faults, panel, I might put as dedicated. So we'll always we'll just use the panel for this. We don't want to show the reuse message. And we do want to clear, I think. We want to see the previous output. And then the next thing I'm going to put is group. And we'll do build is default true. So now let's say we go back here and try and run it. Let's say stack run, it'll download everything and build it for the first time, and you can see it says hello world there. So that's good because it tells me that Visual Studio or VS Code is correctly talking to WSL2, which is running Nix. Sorry, hi, I just noticed Chris arriving. Hi, Chris. I can't believe you watched Taskmaster live. It seems unreasonable. But anyway, yes. So this is showing that things are working. It can talk to Nix. It can run GHC. It can run stack. It can compile the program, which is important. And it's popped with a helper there, so that suggests that it's running the language server as well. Yes, I think it is. That's not the language server. If I just break this by putting the wrong, yeah, okay, so it is running language server because it's putting inline errors. I break things. Okay, cool. So what I will do, I guess, is just try committing all of those. I probably don't want the lock file actually. Just grab those and we should be able to go stage. Unstage. Oh, something wrong with my key bindings. Unstage. That. And then we should be able to commit. Commit. And this is just a new. I will. This is indeed just like train spotting. I am basically Renton. This is new, not empty, but it's a new default. Simple stack project. I'll do. Okay. So I have a very basic commit. I guess we should now try writing the actual code. If we go back to main, wait a second. So sketching out roughly what I think I want to do is eventually, when we get everything working, we'll want to look for files in a directory, probably matching some pattern. So, you know, we'll glob all the Haskell files or all the Go files. When I have the files, I'll then say, you know, for each file, load it, I guess, read the contents. It's going to be interesting. And then find symbols, the non-alphanumeric stuff. And we want to count the symbols, including chains of, I think, 2 or 3 symbols. So again, that's to pick up things like that, or can't find symbols. See, this is already going to be useful because my symbols are rubbish. Maybe things like that as well in Go. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to start though with extracting symbols from a string, because that's a place that I feel a bit more comfortable starting. So we could say maybe something like extract symbols. which is going to take a string and return another string, I guess, which is just the symbols from inside there. So extract symbols. I feel like if I knew some Haskell, this would be like a one character thing, or like a very brief one line thing I could type and it would just magically work. But I'm going to have to stop and think about this. So string is a list of characters, and you probably just want to then filter those characters for I'm going to filter characters for things which are not A to Z or 0 to 9. Sure, there's a helper for doing that. I don't know what it is. So let's go and visit Google, which I'm going to basically spend my whole evening working in. Which of Haskell's favorite string types is your favorite? Oh, it's a good question. I like whichever one it's using right now. I don't see. I'm not sure I'm the Kelly MacDonald character, Chris. I don't think that's a fair comparison. So, characters. I want to go from a character to a bool. Is that the correct spelling? Okay. So there is ASCII, which isn't quite what I want, because these will be ASCII characters. Oh, I can't see anything in there that will tell me whether or not it's a letter. No. Okay. We can try and do this the sort of hard way, I guess, or the long-winded way. So we need, I'm going to write a helper called this symbol, which is going to go character bool. Is it capital C? Just wondering how I get, like, is a Haskell character multi-byte? Not sure it's relevant. The character encoding that I'm using is not multi-byte, I don't think. I'm going to assume it's not for the purpose of this. We might come back and revisit it because in theory some of the source code could be UTF-8. But for now I'm just going to stick with, like, assume it's an ASCII string. Can I extract the symbols from that? Let me do just a very stupid thing to make sure I've got this working. I'll say, if it's an A, it's true. A symbol of anything else is false. That's not obviously what we want. Let's flip that logic around, because that's obviously how you match every single letter. True. So we got this helper called extract symbols. Can I get you a blank terminal? New fish. Okay. Can run stack REPL. So we can say is symbol of A, it should be false, and this symbol of anything else will come back as true. Okay, so I'll make this match more than just a single letter. I just wanted to make sure that it's basically doing the right thing. And then for extract symbol, here's filter out things which are symbols. So we say extract symbols and give it a string of whatever, but some A's in it, it should be that without the A's. Okay, so if I can find out a way of saying, is it a letter? Then this should work. I wonder if I can get the character code for, so the ASCII character code for a symbol, because then you could say, if it's in a particular range, include it. So again, I'm going to go back to Google, and this time I want to go, char to, oh, I got the type wrong before. I go char to bool, does it just give me the answer? Is space, is alpha. Oh, we have is alpha num. So we could just say not is alpha num. Try to think out which package is that in. Data char. Okay, so I will just import data char. Is no suggestions, thank you. Is alpha num. Just save it for a minute. I'll come back, reload here. Oops. Okay, I'll pick up new thing. So we can say, is alpha num A? That's true. And is alpha num, that is false. And false. And capital is true. And 4. Okay, so that is just a helper I want, except I want to not that. I take it, how do you invert a boolean in Haskell? Good. Not. But that didn't seem to work. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's really the error message. It's saying I couldn't match type bool with actual type character to bool, because it was parsing the wrong order. It was doing not is alpha num and then applying that to 4, rather than not applied to is alpha num 4. The dollar is just a lazy way of doing this. It's saying take everything after the dollar, wrap it in arguments, and feed it in as feed the result of that in as an argument to the thing on the left. So my extract symbols is filter of not is alpha num. Sorry, not. Can you do that? That's not a valid expression, is it? Redundant thing. Let me stop trying to be clever. So we got a string there. The argument's to filter. We can't see the editor. Oh, excellent. I'm really good at this live coding. Sorry. You missed all of the good stuff. So I was playing with is alpha num. Yeah, sorry, it's coming. It takes like 5 seconds to get to you. Obviously, I need to spend some money on an Elgato Stream Deck, so I can press buttons rather than clicking with the mouse. Is alpha num is the helper I pulled in. You feed it like an alphanumeric character and it returns true, and you feed it a symbol and it returns false, and then we needed to invert that, so we can say not is alpha num, which gives us the filter that we want. So the arguments for filter is it wants to take a character to bool, and then a list of characters. It's going to return me a list of characters. So I thought I wrote this properly, but you're going to filter on not is alpha num. Something like that. So it couldn't match expected type character to bool. Is there an equivalent to filter, which is filter out? Like the inverse of filter. I will remember to switch away from Google this time. So this one I'll just look at filter for a second. I want like an accept, the opposite of filter. I don't think we've got that. So filter is alpha num is going to do exactly the wrong thing for me. Let's go down here, reload, and say extract symbols. And we'll feed it a string with some characters. Oh, sorry, don't feed it backslashes like that. It does exactly the wrong thing. It gives me back the alphanumeric characters, but not the symbols. So I want to create a function which is the inverse of is alpha num, so like is not alpha num. I thought I could just say not is alpha num. And then feed a character. Oh, I can't just say that. I don't know why it didn't work then. I must have forgotten the dot before. Okay, so now if we reload and then we call extract symbols on that, we get the symbols back, which is great. Cool. I should probably start with a test for this. And that's kind of how I'd want to start normally in programming. But I don't really know how to do that. I have had a quick look at HUnit before, but I've forgotten how it works. So let's go back to the web for a second. HUnit, is that right? So HUnit testing framework. In Haskell test result, I'd import that and then define cases like this. Okay, let's in another project I was working before, I used a different stack template that was not called simple, and it set up some of the test stuff for me. But I can't remember where I did that. No, it wasn't that. What? Sorry, I'm still on the Google window. What I'm going to do briefly is just go back to terminal and then say stack new. I just want to see the more complicated stack template, the ones that sets up various things, including tests. So we're going to say with test, we'll use the default template for this, but I think we still need to say resolver equals LTS. So we go into with test. Yeah, it gives you a test directory, and in there it gives you an example spec file. And then I think in probably stack YAML, no, it wouldn't be in here. In the Cabal file probably. Oh, because it uses hpack, so it's going to be in package YAML. It should also have a block for tests. Okay. So what I can probably do is just go and open that for a second with test in the package YAML. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so this is using hpack, which is, it lets you write your configuration in, I haven't switched to the coding window. It lets you write your configuration in YAML, and then it generates the corresponding Cabal file. And it's actually the corresponding Cabal file that I want for this. I don't know how to do it. So if I just pop back to terminal for a second. The with test at Cabal. Oh, cool. It has got the corresponding lines in there. So I should be able to just grab those. Okay, so back to coding. I think most of my actual real world coding is just looking stuff up. I don't know how to write any code ever. In here, I can open the, what's it called? With test at Cabal file. So, very exciting. Don't want the library, don't want executable. I want the tests. Okay, so if I now go back to my Cabal file, in here I'll have the executable stuff, but I won't have the test stuff, so I can just drop it in there. And we'll call it character frequency test. Don't know what that line means. This stuff I should be able to say paths, character frequency. We'll create a directory called test, that's all fine. We won't pull in with test, we'll pull in character frequency. And lead length the same. So now what we need to do is, can we create a directory there? Do I have help of creating a directory? Is it called new directory? Or did I string after his mouse? In here I can say new folder called test. Okay, so in theory now I can create a file in there called test slash called spec.hs, I think. Okay, and then in here, if I just go back to the old web, I can grab an example of this. So I think if I import that, I think what I do here is just create a new main function, and then I can just do the test. Is that right? Gone a fight with Windows there. Do you know what? I'm going to copy it rather than try and remember or work out what it was. Oh, it doesn't tell me anything exciting. It doesn't have any proper tests in there. Okay, so if I go back to the web page for a second, It's saying I can define tests using this test case thing. And then use run test TT. But I thought I could do this in an easier way. It doesn't look like it. Okay. I'm just going to quickly look up the type of run test TT. Also, the other thing it got is it can't find its unit because I haven't told it. I haven't told it to include that library, I don't think. So if I go back to my with test cabal file, I'm guessing that actually this doesn't use its unit, so although it has got this test suite, it doesn't actually do anything with it. So if I got back to my cabal file, I should be able to say I'm not showing the code again, sorry. I'm very bad at having to switch between the two. In my cabal file, I can add an extra dependency, which is going to be, I think, just HUnit 1.6. Greater than or equal to 1.6 and less than 2. So go back to the test file. Print string tests. Okay, so if I just quit it for a second and do Slack REPL again, it should spot it's missing the library and go and download it for me. I don't know. Actually, let's just start test. In theory, it should print out tests. Okay, now it's actually going looking for the library for me. Is anyone familiar with writing tests in Haskell? I suppose that anything involving the internet is going to be slow because I'm trying to use as much bandwidth as possible to upload the video. So downloading the package index is a bit slow. My CPU is being trashed as well. While it's trying to install a new package for me, does anyone know any good jokes? Come on. You don't need to test me, have to type. See, I'm not sure if that's a response to my do you know any good jokes or not. Clearly we don't need tests. Itch units, okay. I've specified this incorrectly. After all of that. Let's have a quick look at how to install itch unit. It's an amazing difference from following a tutorial where you're just typing some simple Haskell to, you know, solve some kind of fake problem, some very contrived problem. So actually trying to write proper code, where you suddenly find that you have to install libraries and you have to run tests. You don't have to, but you ought to run tests. I'm going to look for a better tutorial on HUnit. Right, I'm going to just look for testing in Haskell because there's probably like 1,000 different libraries that people use. There may be an easier one. Practical testing. Test frameworks. So HUnit for unit testing and then QuickShip for property testing. Actually, property testing would be interesting, but I feel like it's going to get a little bit too far away from what to be. HSpec, actually, I might have used HSpec before. I don't know, unit tests in Prelude. No, I don't think there are unit tests in Prelude. I guess well, it depends what you mean by standard library. There are things like HUnit and probably HSpec and QuickCheck are all in the LTS that I'm using. So Stack can install them for me if I get the library name correct. But I don't think Prelude itself includes any unit test stuff. HSpec, I think, is the one I wanted to use anyway, because it's got this nice, well, not nice, but this RSpec style. It's got RSpec style syntax you can use. By stdlib, I mean no downloady. No, it's always downloady, I think. And I don't, this is quite a fresh setup, so I don't really have anything done already. Okay, I'm going to try installing HSpec. So let's go back to Google and look for HSpec rather than HUnit. So HSpec is a testing program for 2.710. So I'm just going to try in my cabal file, instead of HUnit, HSpec, and it was 2. Oh, I haven't switched to the coding again, sorry. I'm going to use HSpec 2.7 and less than 3, probably, I don't know. Okay, so now if I go back to here, instead of importing test unit, I'm going to import test HSpec. Is it capital S? Lowercase. I just noticed that I haven't said module main. Okay, I'm going to try running that test. Again, it'll probably go and download stuff very slowly. Doing something. It's downloading HUnit, which is, I think is a dependency of HSpec. It looks like it didn't work before because I didn't capitalize the HU. I don't know, there's some kind of convention in Haskell as to what casing you use. But like every language, it's probably just depends on the developer. While that's running, I'm just going to go and grab an example of HSpec because it's kind of cool. So I grabbed that. So in here, we could say, what are we going to describe? We're going to describe, what did I call my code? Does it extract symbols? And it returns the symbols in a string. We could say something like we have to import this extract symbols type whatever. Extract symbols from some string. Let's say some numbers and maybe some symbols. Just intersperse them a bit. And that should be, looks like we need to tell it what the type is. So we expect /% and tilde. What that is. Okay, what happened here? Process execute code, exit failure 1. While building that, compile symbol encountered missing or private. Dependencies, character frequency. Okay, I've messed up my cabal file. Executable character frequency. Okay, I think what was happening before is this was being built as a library, which I probably need to do. I think I've just understood why the layout is different for a stack template where you have tests and one where you don't. Because I can't import another main module, basically. You want a non-main module. What could I do? I think I need to move the code to library and then import that into main and also import it into the test. So again, if I go back to the cabal file I generated before with test, we have this executable, which we have as well, but it's also got a library set up like this. And I think that's what I need to do to get my code to work, get my test to work. So again, we pass with test, we pass character frequency. That says expose modules lib. What does that mean? Kind of worried this is just going to turn into me arguing with Cabal because I don't know how to use it. I'm just wondering like how I can access the code that's in my source files. What I might do is something like, how do you close a folder here? Close the folder and maybe start over. Not quite from scratch, but almost from scratch. Because I don't think I want the layout I've ended up with. So I'm going to just move character frequency items away. I'm going to call it, sorry, simple, because that's the template I used. And I'm going to say stack new character frequency, and just use the template that includes tests. And then I can copy character frequency, that's simple. Oops, not readme, missed. Source main to my new folder, which is character frequency. And then it'll be source again. Source lib. Just going to put it into main, but we will rename it in a second. And I want to copy also out of there, I want to copy this HA YAML. And that might be enough. So back to here, open folder, Haskell, character frequency, I will do. Okay, so now if I go to this file, we now have exposed modules lib, blah, blah, blah. So if I go to lib, okay, it's exporting some function. So I'll get rid of some function. We won't bother exporting that, but we will open up main, grab our very complicated. Actually, I'm going to grab the comments because they were quite useful. And I need that import as well. I'm going to grab our very complicated extract symbols. Pop them into there. We will export extract symbols. I need to open, actually, let me go back to the main inside here. I'm just going to get rid of this file. And if I go to the other main in this application, I need to tell it not to try and run some func because it doesn't exist. I can say print strlen. No. Put strlen. Not implemented yet. Okay. Go back into character frequency, my new one now. And if I say stack test, I'm hoping, yeah, it says test being implemented. Cool. So I can now go to here, which is the test not implemented. I can import hspec, which I haven't added to my cabal again. Everything's so complicated, isn't it? I think that would depend on hspec. I'm just going to copy that, I think. No, I'm not. Depends on hspec. That's not specify version. Going to be a bit lazy this time, but I just want to get something working. Really, it's that? Or was it lowercase spec? I can't remember. I don't know what I was getting so upset about. Just going to run stack test, see if it compiles hspec for me. No. One second, quick check. It's so the package name is lowercase hspec, but it's test.hspec that I want to import. Okay, see if that will run. cannot load module test HSpec is a member of hidden package. Add it to the build depends of the cabal file. But I thought I did add it to the build depends. My cabal file. Might be the wrong cabal file. It is indeed. I added the wrong thing, so it's back into there. Running test again. Oh, it deleted it. Why does it delete it? What's it doing? So HSpec, is it because I'm not giving it the right version? What version is it? 2.7.8. That would just say equals that. Let's see if that works. No, it deletes it again. I don't know why it's deleting it when I'm running it. Oh, because, oh, for goodness sake, this has now got package.yaml. Okay, so now I need to add it into here rather than adding it to the place. So we can say dependencies. I think we can say HSpec. Save that. Run the test again. Okay, now it's downloading it. It says test suite not implemented, which is kind of cool, I think. Like in the compiled again. Like that, say, you don't say do, you say HSpec. It's going to copy an example from the web. Paste that in, is that Alt-J? Yep. So we will say extract symbols. It returns, like things before, these symbols from a string, and then we can say here extract symbols with something here. So we'll do a couple of symbols, not backslash there because that's awkward. Put some symbols in there, and then we'll just say it should be where the symbols were, so it's percent bracket that. Probably want to say import. I think we called it lib. Might want to give it a better name in a minute. Oops, track symbols. Okay, let's see if by some miracle that actually works. Nope. It's a typo. Try it again. It's not an int. Try it one last time. There we go. It apparently works. And if I get it wrong, so I put like an A at the start and rerun the tests, then presumably it will fail. One example failed and expected the A but didn't get the A. That's good, I think. So what have I got? I've got one test that says it extracts symbols from a string properly. I've got a library which contains this very simple definition of extract symbols. It's quite annoying because it really is just like a one-liner to extract the symbols, which is kind of cool, but it took me 1 hour to write that one-liner and to get a test for it working. So I think I'm gonna cut it off here. Yeah, my plan was to just do these in 1 hour chunks. So I'm gonna call this a win because I've got a passing test. And I'm gonna come back to this next week and try and make a bit more progress, hopefully with less not understanding Cabal and less of not understanding how to import libraries. But cool, thank you for joining me and for your witty banter throughout. It's all been good fun. And hopefully see you again next week, apart from Igor, who I'll see in work tomorrow. I don't have an exit screen. Oh no. So I'm just gonna find my window and stop streaming.